If you've ever thought about building an Airbnb business, you've probably had at least one of these fears. What if I choose the wrong area? What if no landlord says yes? What if I finally get a property and then no one books it? And this is exactly why most people never get started. Not because they're lazy, not because Airbnb doesn't work, but because these challenges actually feel way bigger than they actually are. And the truth is, every successful Airbnb business comes down to solving these three things: getting the location correct, getting the right property, and getting the property booked consistently. That's it. And in this video, I'm going to show you how each one works. Because once you understand the process behind these three challenges, this business stops feeling scary and it starts feeling doable. You know, one of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking successful Airbnb hosts just got lucky. They got lucky with the area. You know, they got lucky with finding that landlord, lucky with the bookings. No, the people who do well in this business usually just understand they need a system. They don't guess locations, they analyze them. They don't wait for landlords to magically appear. They build a deal flow. And finally, they don't pray for bookings. They create demand from multiple places. That's the mindset I want to give you in this video. Because if you can understand these three challenges properly, you're going to realize this business is much less about luck and much more about process. So let's start with the big one, location. Because this is where a lot of people go wrong before they've even started. Like, most beginners look at a property and they ask, well, do I like it? Would I stay there? Does it look nice? That is the wrong idea for a business. The better question is there enough demand for what we do consistently? Because a beautiful property in the wrong area is still a terrible deal. And this is why I use a very simple framework for judging locations. I use the demand system. Not feelings, not guesswork, data. So what does create demand? There are a few big things that I want to look at when making a decision using my demand framework. Number one is development. What's happening in the area? Is there regeneration, a new transport link, a new shopping center, a hospital expansion, a major project? Because development bring movement and movement bring guests. Two is employers. Like, who are the major employers nearby? Hospitals, warehouses, offices, industrial estates, universities, airports. This matters because some of the best guests are not tourists. They're contractors, consultants, agency workers, relocation guests, business travelers, which is really exciting for those of you who are not living in major cities. Airbnb success isn't just about tourism. This is a serious business model now, being used by all kinds of people. Number three is hotels. Like, are there any major hotels nearby? Travel lodges, premier inns, holiday inns. That tells you the market already has demand for short stays. And four is amenities and convenience. Parking, transport links, restaurants, supermarkets, gyms, town center access. Like, guests book convenience as much as they book the property itself. Then once I've looked at all of that, then I check the numbers. What are similar listings charging? How often do they actually get booked? What kind of reviews do they have? Does the area support weekend demand, weekday demand, or both? And then I bring all of that into one question. Is there true demand here? At realistic pricing and realistic occupancy, does this deal still make sense? That's the key. Because you don't want to take on properties for the sake of taking on properties. You need profitable deals. So if the location has been intimidating, here's what I want you to actually take away from this. You do not need some magical awareness or some incredible knowledge. You just need a framework. Location isn't luck, it's just research. Do the work. Now let's move to the second big challenge. And this is the one that scares most people. How do I actually get a property? Because a lot of people think the hard part is running the Airbnb. No. For most beginners, the hard part is getting control of the first property. And the reason most people struggle is because they go where everyone else is. They go on open rent, they message agents. They send boring messages and sound like everyone else. And then they wonder why no one replies. So instead of telling you just send more messages, let me give you the three smartest ways to actually solve this. Number one, key people of influence. This is a massive shift. Like, stop only thinking about how to speak with landlords directly. Start thinking about the people who already know landlords: mortgage brokers, accountants, property solicitors, handymen, electricians, gas engineers, cleaners, insurance brokers, letting agents, you name it. These people are close to the landlords you want. They hear the complaints. They hear who's frustrated. They hear whose property is empty. They know who's tired of hearing the same pitch. So instead of chasing landlords one by one, just ask yourself, who already has access to the landlords that I want? Like, that one question changed my business and it's changed my life. That's why I'm so passionate. Number two, networking. This is where people often waste a lot of time, because most people think networking means going to random property events and talking to a room full of people or chasing the same goal. That can work if motivation is what you're looking for. But if you're looking for properties, stop it right now, because it's full of people looking for the same things you're looking for, meaning they can't help you when they're looking for help themselves. This is why I like business networking a lot, because in those rooms, you're going to find the accountants, the mortgage brokers, business owners, and people who know landlords, and people who are likely to be landlords themselves. There's less competition in those rooms, and there's more opportunity. But the trick is this: don't just turn up and waffle. Like, you need to know how to explain exactly what you do. These are professionals, and you need to be able to do that very simply. So something like, I help landlords make more money from the property by turning it into an Airbnb. It's simple, it's clear, and it's easy to remember. And then do the thing that most people never do: follow up. That's your unfair advantage. It pains me that I have to keep saying this, but since most people are too lazy to do it, I have to keep saying it. I hope you're going to be different. Most people meet someone and they just talk for a few minutes. They promise that they're going to follow up the next day, and then they just disappear forever. That's literally what 90% of people who go networking do. And yes, I'm looking at you. You know you've done it. So literally, all you have to do to stand out like a sore thumb is just do what you said you would and follow up. Like, that seemingly simple gesture will give you an unfair advantage that, quite honestly, it's not even deserved, but it's going to give it to you because you did it when most people don't. Like, the follow-up is where relationships start, and relationships is what creates deals. Like, never ever forget that. And last but not at all the least, number 3 is ads. And some people hear that and they think that sounds too advanced. Oh, me, it's not. If you understand that ads are just about putting messages in front of thousands of landlords that you wouldn't ordinarily be able to access, it becomes very simple. Instead of you constantly chasing landlords, you create messaging that speaks to their pain: empty properties, tenant issues, late rent, rising pressure, low flexibility, maintenance stress. And then landlords raise their hand by filling in your form. That changes the whole dynamic. Now, instead of begging for attention, you're speaking to people who are already open to a solution. That is a much better place to do business from. So if getting landlords has felt hard in the past, it only feels hard when you think there's just one route. But once you start using key people of influence, you start doing networking correctly, and you use inbound marketing, you stop thinking like someone hoping for a deal, and you start thinking like someone who's building a predictable business. And that's a completely different level of confidence. Now, let's talk about the third challenge, because if you get the location right, and even if you get a landlord to say yes, there's still that fear in the back of your mind. What if I get the property and it doesn't get booked? Now, first, let's clear something up. The goal is not for a property to be booked every second of every month forever. The goal is consistent, reliable occupancy. And the biggest mistake people make here is relying on just one source, and that's usually just Airbnb. That's not a proper business. If you want stronger bookings, you need to build what I call a demand flow, a demand pipeline. So number 1, your listing has to convert. So before you worry about more traffic, make sure your listing actually does its job. That means a strong title, a great first photograph, clear photos of a row, a description that sells the stay, not just the property. You need all the right amenities, fast response time. Your listing should make it easy for the guests to say, yes, this is the right place for me. Number 2, your pricing has to make sense. Like, a lot of booking problems are actually pricing problems. If you're too expensive, people are going to skip you. If you're too cheap, you might get bookings, but your profits are non-existent. So you need smart pricing. Weekdays versus weekends, seasonality, events, the length of stay discounts, the gap nights, the last minute adjustments. This is where dynamic pricing tools like Price Labs can really help you a lot. Because trust me, you don't want to be doing all of this manually. Again, numbers, not feelings. And then number 3, please don't rely on one platform. If your whole strategy is just put it on Airbnb and hope, that's not a strategy. You want multiple sources of demand where it makes sense. Airbnb, Booking.com, VRBO, a direct booking site, corporate relationship, repeat guests, because different people book in different ways. And the more reach that you have, the more predictable your calendar bookings are going to be. Number 4, reviews and guest experience drive future bookings. A lot of people think bookings are just listing your property. Like, that's not true. Bookings are also operational. If the property is clean, it's easy to access, it's well set up, and the guests have a good stay, guess what? They're going to leave reviews. Reviews improve trust. Trust improves conversion. Conversion meaning how many people actually see your property and decide to book versus those who don't. Conversion improves your ranking, and ranking improves your bookings. So guest experience is part of your marketing, whether you realize this or not. And then point number 5, turn the existing guest into future direct booking clients. This is where it starts getting really smart. If someone has stayed with you and they loved it, that should not be the end of the relationship. Now, over time, you want to build a repeat guest database. So that means you got to give them a great experience. You need a branded welcome guide, professional following up, giving people a reason to actually book next time, and then keeping a database of guests who are repeat customers. This is really powerful with business travelers, contractors, relocation guests, and repeat visitors. And number 6 is build a corporate guest list. This is one of the strongest ways to make occupancy more stable. Like, think about the businesses and the organizations that may regularly need accommodation. Construction companies, recruitment firms, hospitals, relocation companies, insurance housing providers, local businesses with traveling staff like care companies or nursing agencies. These people care about clean accommodation, easy invoicing, parking, Wi-Fi, reliability, and flexibility. If you become a trusted option for them, you reduce your dependency on platforms like Airbnb and Booking.com, which makes you more profitable. And that's how you start thinking like a real business owner. Because here's the truth: bookings are built, they are predictable, they come from stacking the right things together. A strong listing, good pricing, multiple channels, great guest experience, repeat guests, corporate demand. That is how you create a predictable income stream. So when you strip it all back, the 3 biggest Airbnb challenges are this: choosing the right location, getting control of the right property, and keeping that property booked consistently. And what I hope this video has shown you is that all 3 have very simple solutions. It's not through luck, it's not through guesswork, it's just through a predictable process. Location is solved through research. Landlords are solved through positioning, relationships, and inbound system. And bookings are solved by stacking demand and strong operations. And once you understand that, your perspective starts to change. Because now this business doesn't feel like some special thing that only certain people can do. Now it feels like something you can build. And if you're willing to learn the process and implement it properly, then you definitely can, because that's the key. So if you got value from this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now, because I've got a lot more content coming that's going to help you build an Airbnb business the smart way and the most predictable way. And if you actually want help getting started, I've put together a completely free 30-day Airbnb launch plan that breaks down the exact steps and includes the scripts that you can use when speaking to landlords. And if you're really serious about building this business properly, I want you to go and watch my free training right now, because I break down how to start and grow an Airbnb business without paying rent, without paying deposits, and without paying any furnishing costs. That's in the description below. And in the comments, let me know this: which of these 3 challenges is the biggest one for you right now? Is it location? Is it landlords? Or is it bookings? I'll see you in the next video.